What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and today we're going to be giving the once over to Unfrosted. There will be spoilers.
Give it a good once over.
Giving us the once over.
Giving him the once over.
Give me a once over.
Down to give us the once over.
For a routine once over.
Once over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
So today I am very excited because I am joined by Karl and Jenny Jingles from Who Are These Podcasts? So thank you guys so much for being here with me.
I wish we were here for different reasons.
I blame you for this.
Unfrosted, which is the worst movie I've seen in decades.
This was my fault. I did suggest doing this.
I mean, I like talking about it. I made Jen watch the entire movie. She wanted to turn it off. And I said, no, we're watching this. I want to be able to tell my children and my children's children that I saw this movie and how horrible it was. This is my walking uphill both ways to school story, watching this movie.
I think one of the best reviews that I saw of it was I watched the whole thing. So you are officially in that camp as well. Congratulations. I'm proud of you guys.
I watched the whole thing was the review.
Yes.
That's rough stuff.
Normally I'd say, do you want a cookie? But it's like, yeah, give that guy a cookie. That's impressive.
Maybe he earned a Pop-Tart. I don't even know.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah. That's weird. So, of course, Unfrosted came out in 2024. It was written and directed by Jerry Seinfeld. It's his directorial debut, and I hope that he never does another one because, like you guys, I hated this film. It's kind of part of this, like, new wave of films where they're doing origin stories of products. Yeah. So, like, we also had Flamin' Hot come out and Air. But the difference about Unfrosted is, one, that it's completely fucking awful, and two, that the entire story is fake.
Well, that's the weird part. Yeah. Because there are real characters sprinkled in for some reason.
Yes.
It's based
like
on...
Marjorie Post is real.
Well, yeah, but it's based on nothing except for their names, though.
It's really stupid. And the Barbie movie, too, when I first saw it, I was thinking, oh, they made this because the Barbie movie was successful. But they just had no idea why the Barbie movie was successful when they made this.
That's a really good way to describe it. Effectively, this is a $70 million commercial.
When I saw it cost $70 million, I wanted to chuck my computer.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't it cost that much money? I would hope that all of these people who are in this movie got paid. And it is shot well. It looks good. If I was just looking at it, I'd be like, oh, that's probably interesting. If the volume was up.
That was in my notes. It does look good, but that's... it.
I do think that it is kind of an interesting concept. So if it had been done well, basically the movie boils down to the plot of we are treating the rush to get Pop-Tarts to the shelves, the race between Post and Kellogg's, with the same gravity that the space race was being treated with. And that could be really funny. It just isn't here.
Yeah, it misses the mark. The note that I put down is everything in this movie is corny.
Daddy bought himself a Wheelo. Wheelo.
It's so corny. And if Jerry Seinfeld's name wasn't attached to it, you might go, well, of course it's corny. It's about Pop-Tarts. But you're like, yeah, but Jerry Seinfeld's in it. And he's one of the greatest comics of our generation. So there's got to be more to it than just cornball. I wrote down a bunch of the cornball jokes. I mean, it starts right away. And there's a theme to it, too. Whenever we know about the past and what happened with it, they just make a joke like, for example, one of the first jokes that gets shoehorned in.
Ooh, Vietnam. That seems like a good idea.
That seems like a good idea.
Ba-doom-tsh.
It's not even a joke. He's like, yeah, no, it actually was a debacle. I get it.
It's completely awful. And I assume that you guys are aware of this, but we're going to check out a couple of clips here because the idea for this movie actually came because Jerry became obsessed with Pop-Tarts. And so he based this whole ass movie off of an unfunny stand-up bit that he did.
Well, I also saw in an interview, he said that he wanted to go back to his childhood when things were all whimsical and there was no pressure and everything was just fun and magical. And I guess that's what he's going for. But it's funny, we were hanging out with family members who are in their 70s yesterday, yep. And they liked this movie. And they're like, well, this is a movie for baby boomers.
It's for babies and boomers.
Well, right. Yeah. I was just like, really? I mean, I understand all the references. I don't understand why a baby boomer would enjoy this.
But also, if this is like reminiscent of his childhood and makes him, his childhood is like a fever dream. It's crazy. It made me feel insane when I was watching it.
Yes. I think that none of us are in the demographic for this movie, which I'm pretty sure is not between age 15 and 70. Like, I think under 15, you might enjoy it, and over 70, you might enjoy it. Other than that, it's going to be completely awful. So let's check out this Pop-Tart joke that Jerry told, which was one of the catalysts for this horrible movie getting made.
2 in each packet, 2 slots in the toaster. There's no wrong way. Why 2? One's not enough, 3's too many. And they can't go stale because they were never fresh.
This would be like if Jim Gaffigan, who's also in this movie, made a movie about bacon.
Bacon's the best. Even the frying of bacon sounds like applause. It's like, yay, bacon!
It's like,
Yes.
I put together a Type 2 on it, so why not make a movie about it now?
Yes. Why not make an entire movie? So then in 2013, after having told that joke, Jerry goes on the Howard Stern show and he talks more about this obsession with Pop-Tarts.
Right.
If you're totally in love with it, you just hammer away at it. I got into this Pop-Tart thing. I couldn't stop.
With Pop-Tarts.
I couldn't stop.
Until you found what was funny about
Yes,
Pop-Tarts.
yes.
What was funny about Pop-Tarts?
That they can't go stale because they were never fresh.
It's not bad. The way he delivered it in his stand-up was good. I mean, it's sitting there with Howard. It's not the best material. But.
Yeah, it's not great. And the weirdest part about this is after they talk about his obsession with Pop-Tarts, Howard is like, well, what if I gave you a really great script for a movie? Like, what if we did something that was really, really wonderful? So this is their conversation about that.
If I came to you with a great script and I said, Jerry, I wrote the greatest script of all time, and you read it and you agreed.
Yeah, if you did that.
If I had the material. But
I
if you
had considered doing a Pop-Tart movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
I thought a movie about how they discovered the Pop-Tart.
And you would be the inventor?
In Battle Creek, Michigan.
Wow, what year was that?
2013.
No shit. So he's been stewing on this for a long time.
He's been stewing on this forever. And not only that, but Howard was like, what if I gave you a really great script? And Jerry instead was like, I think I'll write a shitty script. Let's forget
really
your
great
good
script. That
script
seems like
idea.
a lot of pressure. Why don't we just deal with a horrible script and just throw all my friends in it?
Yeah. So you have mentioned a couple of times now, you are totally right that there are just a million cameos in this movie. So I actually created a nice little 2-minute reel of every single person who appears in this movie. And when I say every single person, I'm still missing probably 20 of them because it was literally impossible. So let's go ahead and check that out. Get ready to suffer.
You want to know the real story?
Nope. That's what I'm saying. I don't miss it.
There's always a surprise inside the box.
Are you giving me a read? Peace be upon you. They're so right. Brought to you by Oscar Mayer Wieners. When you are done with breakfast, we'll be waiting.
Now, why the rectangle shape?
You can see into anything except my personal trauma.
Where did my parents go?
That is for me to know and you not to find out.
Sorry I'm late. They had me come in through the back like a plumber.
A little cup of buttermilk with the proper churning can become a mighty cheese.
I love other people's anguish. It's the best we have right now. We have an operative posing as a janitor with a camera attached to his mouth.
We're in a meeting.
But instead of oily Mediterranean bait fish, it contains yummy fresh fruit puree.
When you're dealing with garbage, you have to let go of conventional expectation. How many more have to die?
If you don't mind the bad grout job.
Such a hard job, making people laugh, but so important. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Okay, so just to be clear, you want a smooth look. And it gets weird, too. I'm not a doll.
What is happening? No, Univac, no!
We want a record deal, board games, maybe even a beach movie.
Blow it out your trumpet, Sally. Well, Papa Wheelie, we got a treat!
And our old friend, Buttock Rashes.
His deal.
When you hear it, it's more than a name.
And sad, lonely women.
We are the white and the red, white, and blue.
Creator of Pop-Art.
Honey, you've been in there for over an hour.
Your 15 minutes is up.
And that's not everybody.
There's a lot of scenes that were just created just so they could have these people in them because they didn't make any sense at all. One of them was Sebastian Maniscalco. When I saw him, it was just like, there's no reason for him to be in this movie. No. They didn't utilize any of his talents for it. It's just, they need a guy in a boardroom, and here we go, a big famous guy.
Well, I know, and there was a lot of shoehorning in of characters that had nothing to do with the plot.
Okay, I want to bring this up if you don't mind. Kate,
go ahead.
It's your show.
No, please.
One of my least favorite aspects of this movie is, so Seinfeld gets Melissa McCarthy from NASA to invent the Pop-Tart, and they decide they're going to bring together this team of people to develop a Pop-Tart. Makes zero sense at all. They bring in the Sea Monkeys creator, Jack LaLanne for some reason, Steve Schwinn, Tom Carvel, Chef Boyardee, and an IBM computer. And this is like their super team that's going to develop Pop-Tart. Can you explain why this is all just so that these guys can all make faces at the camera like, whoa, am I right? Oh, this is nuts, huh? Like, the fucking Bobby Moynihan is so annoying in this movie. He sucks out loud. It's not his fault. It's a garbage script, but he has to keep being like, whoa.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
I feel like if any one of these comedians would have said, you know what, I'm out. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Maybe that would have saved us from this, but I don't know.
Maybe someone did. Maybe Chris Rock is out there going, thank God I fucking jumped out of this thing. Because
actually, I think Chris Rock was originally supposed to be the award show host at the
I believe it.
Spoons and whatever the hell that.
You know what? You're a good brother.
I'm a good brother.
That Cedric the Entertainer took over the role of.
Is that true, or are you just making that up?
I think that's actually true.
That's funny. Like, yeah. Okay, the IBM computer. Since I brought
why
these computer gags. So this computer from the '60s is sassy.
Yeah.
It's not Star Wars. We don't need sassy robots in this
movie.
It's just not how robots work.
It's a little perverted.
Nursed or bottle fed? Neither. Don't answer that.
It's ridiculous. It's like, for some reason in 1963, the computer is able to watch things in 4K and analyze them in real time, but it spits out a ticket with 2 words on it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. Well, speaking of that, let me get real nitpicky now.
Yes.
Because people don't know this, I never talk about it, but I'm a musician and I appreciate music quite a bit. This movie takes place in 1963. It features the song Good Lovin' by the Rascals that came out in 1966. I'll Be Around by the Spinners came out in 1973. Cool Jerk by the Capitals, 66. Spirit in the Sky, 69. What's with this fucking soundtrack? They're just like, if it's close to the 60s, then throw it in. No one will know. It's fine.
Nobody will pay attention.
No one will pay attention.
Well, boomers will know. Babies won't know. So that's half.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like,
half their audience.
Like, why not have just music from 1963 and before? It'd be very easy to do. There's tons of songs.
That is my biggest problem. It's not. Well, it's one of my very big problems with this movie is everything is nonsensical. It's like a Swiss cheese.
Right.
It's just like full of holes. And for what? And it's $70 million worth of holes. It's so stupid.
And it's funny because there are comedies like that are completely nonsensical.
That are good.
That are fun.
Yeah.
And funny. There's something about this, it just doesn't capture it. And maybe it goes back to, like I said, it's super corny. Everything is super corny. Maybe that's what the problem is. But it's bizarre how this misses on everything. I don't even know what it's trying to do, actually. I was going to say it misses on everything it's trying to do. I don't think Seinfeld knows what he's trying to do.
It basically is like Seinfeld B or even C plots to the episodes. Like, I thought everything was just skits. So for me, It's like, what would a serial award show look like?
That scene, by the way, is my least favorite scene in the entire movie.
Well, let's go ahead and check it out.
How are you? Look at you tonight. Somebody's frosted your flakes. Well, you know I love cereal, people. I do. My favorite thing is on the front of the box is serving suggestions. Well, I have a suggestion for you. How about filling up the box? What's with all the air?
Yeah. So I just don't understand even a little bit why we are doing, well, what would happen if cereal had an award show?
One of the categories, wasn't it easiest to open wax bag or something like that?
Yep. There's also best use of niacin. Hilarious. I mean, this is, a $1 billion industry, and all of the CEOs and all of the top people are sitting in this room with 40 other people and like collecting awards for this shit. It's so stupid.
Well, also everything is so literal. Like the guy from Quaker Oats looks like the
He's a
Quaker
Quaker.
guy
Yeah.
off the box or the cylinder.
Right. So cartoon characters work for the company. Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Oh my god.
So fucking obnoxious. I don't even understand what their characters are supposed to be.
We're tired of doing supermarket appearances. Yeah, we're catching on. We want a record deal, board games, maybe even a beach movie.
They're constantly in character.
Crackle and Pop.
It reminded me of, do you guys remember that Tom Hanks skit they did about Halloween on SNL?
Tony Pumpkin or something.
Yeah.
I'm David Pumpkins, and I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
It reminded me of that, where it's just like, okay, this is weird, and these people are characters, but are there any jokes at all? Is this going to be funny at some point? What do we do? What's going on?
Maybe we just don't get it. Maybe it is the greatest movie ever.
No, not
It's
true.
not.
Not true. I've talked to a lot of people who've seen this movie, and aside from those two people we talked to yesterday, I've never met anyone who enjoyed it.
I was aghast when they said they liked the movie.
I couldn't believe it. Well, I'll tell you this. My first viewing, I was offended. The first viewing, I was offended. The second viewing, I was just annoyed. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This sucks. It softened the blow for me. The first time you watch, you're like, oh, I can't believe this exists.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again. I didn't think I ever would, but I did for you, Kaylee.
Why, thank you.
I watched it again, and I went, okay, I mean, it's just cornball garbage. Whatever.
I like cornball movies. I like bad movies that are good to watch.
Yes.
This was just bad.
I know I was hoping it was going to be such a bad movie that I would enjoy it.
I didn't. And I've watched a lot of that
I know.
and enjoyed them.
I think that so much of it, again, is that it's just like pun after pun after pun, one-liner after one-liner. They all become completely ineffective. Even if there are a couple of good moments, you're so annoyed by everything that is not funny that's happening that you can't enjoy those good moments.
For example, some of the jokes they make.
It's not possible. It's like a balloon popping out of a steering wheel in an accident. Insane.
Ridiculous. Because then we invent air packs. Okay, here's another one.
I wanted to send my kids to college. It's like $200 a year.
Because it's way more than that.
It's 1960s.
Well, sugar's poison, which is why we're developing something new called high fructose corn syrup.
So we're creating a new thing called high fructose corn syrup. I mean,
not even joke.
If I wrote the script, I'd myself. Can you say that on this channel?
Yes.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
No, it's completely, it's insanity. It's insanity that Seinfeld thought about this for so long, and this is what he came up with.
That's true because it's been a decade.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he'd been thinking about this for that long. Couldn't write one good joke for it.
If
obsessive.
Say Larry David had anything to do with this, this would never be made. It never would have been made. Or it might have been good, but I doubt it.
Larry David would have nothing to do with something like this.
You don't think that Larry David is in the business of making gigantic flop commercials?
That's what white people's skin tone is. It's
Right,
just
right,
different
right.
kinds of hot cereal.
Right.
Black people, your skin tone's like, it depends on the amount of milk you put in the coffee.
Fucking right. I'm like a fucking yoo-hoo. I shake that motherfucker up, you shake me up.
You's a good color.
Fucking good color.
Yeah, you's a really good color.
And then brokering them into brand deals?
I don't. I don't.
No, that's not his thing. So one of the other big problems that I had with this movie is that there were so many villains. Everybody was a villain for no reason. At first, we start getting things like the Titans of cereal, the 5 families of cereal, and they're all doing shady business practices. And again, that's like the Seinfeld skit. Well, what would happen if the Titans of the cereal brands all met together in a boardroom? It would be like The Godfather. Ha ha ha.
Right, so that was the mafia thing. And do you remember who was serving the snacks?
And thanks to Ernie Keebler for providing the fudge stripes.
The Keebler elf.
Ernie Keebler was providing
Yeah.
the snacks. It's like what, just everything has to just be a reference to a fucking product? Like everything? Like, trying to write a joke or an interesting thing, just like, no, we'll just throw a bunch of other references to products. Okay.
No,
cool.
It's completely insane. And then after we realize that some of the Titans of the cereal brands are actually bad guys, we also find out that the milkmen are bad guys.
Yep.
So now the milkmen are like the mob. What if the milkmen are running things like organized crime? And there's just no humor in any of it.
I know, and it was such a waste of Christian Slater.
It really, really
Everything was a waste of everything. Kyle
yes.
Dunnigan, I mean, there's so many good people.
Mostly because, first of all, why are you going to a bar to have a glass of milk, first of all? And then what? Harass?
Well, remember, according to this movie, milk was not even drank.
As we all know, in the beginning, farmers milked cows for fun. It was just a gross white liquid dripping out of some dim-witted beast that was fun to throw at girls.
Until someone realized that if you poured it on breakfast cereal. So we're to believe that no one figured out that drinking milk was a good idea until breakfast cereal came along. Okay. Sure. Why not? You also have the cartel. So
Yes.
in order to get sugar, they have to go to El Sucre in Puerto Rico.
Because in my business, we have a saying, pay us or we kill you.
Appreciate it.
That's another bad guy in this. Of course, you have Russia.
And yep, and so in contrast to that, you can also get sugar from Khrushchev, which is just great. And again, every single thing just feels like one of those bits. And I feel like the writing room is just, okay, so what would happen if you had to buy sugar like how you were buying cocaine?
Right.
Let's make that a part of the movie.
All right, so here's something that I wrote down. Because this is what, I can't even solve this mystery, and maybe I'm not the right person to be analyzing this movie, because there's a mascot fight. And it doesn't work. It's lame, and maybe by then I'm already exhausted, and that's why it's not working. But if you think about like Anchorman, and all the news teams fight to the death, like that's a great scene. It works in Anchorman.
Yes.
South Park make things like that work. These guys couldn't. I'm just like, well, this is nonsense. Why? Why can't they not figure that out? It should be an easy win.
Well, and they also tried to plant their politics in there as well. There was a lot of MAGA references and January 6th references, and it kind of was like, well, this is supposed to be a fun comedy movie, and now it's just reminding me of politics and Trump and the insurgents.
Life.
Everything is now, unfortunately, but
yeah, so the scene that you're talking about specifically where the mascots do the January 6th insurrection, there's like shot for shot stuff in that sequence. I like, those are the actual, that's what we saw on the news. It's completely absurd.
Hugh Grant, yes, when he was Buffalo Man or whatever.
right, yes.
Yep.
He was
Why? It just
he was the QAnon shaman
Yes.
okay.
all of a sudden, yes.
Yes. He had to go to the store to buy the horns, as I recall.
And then the freaking Nazi guy who's played by Lennon, what's his name?
Tom Lennon.
Tom Lennon, who I love. Horrible character in this.
Yes.
And so as that's happening, he has to be like, "What have I seen this before?" You're like, "Yeah, we get it." Fucking Nazi reference.
Yeah,
When he was
literally
making other
everybody
Nazi
gets it.
references, he's just like, "Yeah, no, this isn't funny in any single way. We get it. You're a Nazi." Okay.
That's actually one of the very few things that is real in this movie, is that the guy who invented sea monkeys really had a lot of connections to the KKK and stuff. So that probably wasn't too far from the truth.
That's fun.
You know? Yeah, I looked it up. I was trying to figure out things that were actually real, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. Let's make that be the one real thing. Completely nonsensical.
Yeah, there was so much. It's almost like Jerry was thinking when he's writing this, oh, I used to have sea monkeys. I'm going to put that in there too. Oh, I like SpaghettiOs. I'm going to put that in there too.
Right.
It was a love letter to the 1960s.
So they have, and I just want to get back to this real quick. So when they bring on this super team that's going to help them invent Pop-Tarts, they have a press conference.
Why would you leave the #1 bicycle company in America to make some unknown edible item?
That's what we're doing?
Why would they have a press conference for hiring people to work at their company? And the press is applauding? Does the press applaud at press conferences? Yay, Jack LaLanne. And then all of the press people are asking like Stuttering John-esque embarrassing questions.
Does a Sinead O'Connor give you a boner?
When does this ever happen? What is the point? Like, all of these things are just shoehorned in gags that make no sense at all and aren't funny and don't land.
Right.
It's all this season of SNL. Every fucking part of the show.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And for me, that sequence when they're having this press conference, that was, again, kind of playing off of the idea that we're going to make making Pop-Tarts as serious as the space race. So it is very space race centric, which is the first of many, 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 many references to going to the moon.
We got to the moon. The breakfast moon.
Like, entirely too many. We get the creation of the word tang.
It's got a certain tang.
Ooh, that's a good name.
God, that's so stupid.
It's completely absurd.
You don't really think you're actually going to the moon, do you? Really?
You don't think you're really going to go to the moon, do you? Going to the moon? And then Melissa McCarthy's like, no, I don't. I'll go work for you at Kellogg's. Good one. See, the joke there, Kaylee, is
Explain.
that a lot of people think that in 1969 we did go to the moon. Not Alex Stein. Not a lot of people that I know, but some people think that we did go to the moon. So that was what the joke was, is that.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I could have used you watching the entire movie to explain every single one of the jokes.
Oh, here's one that you probably missed because it probably went right over your head. It was pretty subtle. The kids are in the dumpster.
Yeah.
This is great.
It's stale Rice Krispies and melted marshmallows. It's a treat.
And they go, it's a treat.
I got it.
Do you need me to explain it?
No, I got
We
it.
Because I didn't see you guys laughing. I didn't see anyone laughing at that.
The two kids in the dumpster were the only decent characters in it. I thought that they were actually pretty good.
I thought so too.
But
they weren't given good stuff to work with, but they were good at what they
They
did.
did their best work.
Yep.
There was so much in it in this. So it's supposed to take place what year again?
63.
63.
Battle Creek, Michigan.
And it was the most diverse
Yeah.
bunch of people.
Yeah, that takes you out of it a little
It
bit.
does take me out of it when there are like black female executives. Never would happen. It barely happens now.
The main news reporter was a black woman.
Yeah. And all of these actors I recognize, I comedians, I get it.
Yeah.
I feel like they should be represented, but maybe not in a thing that takes place in 1963 in that way.
Right.
It does take me out of it, even though there wasn't much. I was really never into it, but that was part of the thing I noticed too. It was just really like shoehorning PC correctness, everything into it.
Yep.
There was so much of an agenda that really didn't have anything to do with Pop-Tarts.
Yes, I don't think it has anything to do with Pop-Tarts. None of
It
this
wasn't
movie has.
written by just Jerry Seinfeld. It was a team of people who were all shoehorning in their own things that they wanted to do. And it comes across that way. It almost seems like, all right, you write the first 7 pages. I'll take 8 through 15. We'll hand it over for 16 through 28 over here. Because they didn't seem like they collaborated on it.
Yeah, it was really unhinged.
What's the vision? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why we get so many of these little skits. You know, everything is a skit that eventually got stitched together.
How about the reason why it's called a Pop-Tart?
We did get a lot of origin stories.
This was so stupid. So it was going to be called Trat Pop because it's toaster ready anytime treat. So already this is shoehorn. This is not a good thing. So the Trat Pop. But the reason why it became Pop-Tarts is because of Silly Putty.
Read it off my Silly Putty. A product called the Pop-Tart.
Right. I forgot about that part.
It's the dumbest thing ever. Another reference to a toy product of the 60s, Silly Putty. How do we work that in? You don't have to. It's fine. The executive board or the marketing team could have come up with Pop-Tart. That would have been fine. No one argued with that.
It pops out of a toaster.
Right.
Got it.
It's fine.
It's a tart.
Yeah, it's a tart flavor treat. It's not that difficult to figure out.
It had to be more exciting than that. And of course, this movie, the entire point of this movie, or I guess the entire basis of this movie, is that Jerry Seinfeld's character, Bob Cabana, is telling the story of the creation of Pop-Tarts to a little boy in a diner. So it has to be fantastical.
Runaway.
Yes.
To a Japanese runaway in 1963.
More accurate.
Yeah, makes sense.
Another thing that I probably hated maybe more than anything in this movie was the funeral sequences. During the creation of Pop-Tarts, Steve Schwinn, who is obviously from Schwinn Bicycles, he ends up dying because Pop-Tarts are dangerous. And so they hold a funeral for him where we get to see Snap, Crackle, and Pop playing the bagpipes. We get Toucan Sam singing Ave Maria. They do a cereal ceremony where they fill the gravesite with milk and cereal.
I guess that's supposed to be a funny sight gag, I suppose. They try for so many sight gags. It's like Jerry Seinfeld's one of the best joke writers ever. Why are you going for sight gags? This is not in your wheelhouse. I'd rather Kramer came in and called everyone the N-word. They'd be like, okay, now this is getting funny. This is good. But it's like, if you're not going to do that.
Well, and more apropos of the early 60s than what we got.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Kramer is just like the wrong generation. You're right. He would have killed it. How about the ravioli on the loose thing?
Well, okay, so then it gets just...
It's like for children.
It's such nonsense.
So now they have this cartoon thing that's running around, it's cute or something. What's the point of this?
I don't know.
What's this for?
I guess from a marketing standpoint, you could probably make like a ravioli doll that kids would really like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's funny. That would be hilarious if that is a product. I gotta look that up now.
Oh no, you're gonna have ravioli pillows all over your house.
Hey, did you show Peter Dinklage in that montage of stars that were in
I
this
did.
movie?
I did.
So he's one of the bad guys. He's part
He's
of
the milkman bad
Big
guy.
Milk. Yes. Right. And his big thing, the funny thing they do to, was it Jerry Seinfeld? Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. They walk him down the aisle.
Walk him down the aisle.
He's a family man, sir.
I said the aisle!
Oh no, he's gonna get walked down the aisle. And this, I mean, guys, if you're not still laughing at farts, I don't know what to tell you. So Jerry has to walk down where there's a bunch of cows who are having flatulence. Whoa! And he barely makes it through, guys.
That's scary.
Spoiler, I know you say spoilers. Watch out. He does survive it.
I hated that sequence specifically because it wasn't enough fart jokes. Like, I felt like he went down that aisle so fast, I didn't get to see him get pooped on. I didn't get to see, like, nothing funny happens
He should have lit
there.
a cigarette at some point and have it explode in his face. Like that. Yeah, right.
There were plenty of funny things. That actually could have been a good sight gag, and instead he just walks down and then you cut to him being in the shower.
Hold on. I just said something that triggered something in my mind. Is there ever a cigarette smoked in this movie? 1963, you think about that award show or even in the board meetings, everyone's smoking a cigarette back then.
Wasn't Amy Schumer smoking
I don't know, maybe she was.
at the awards? Or no, she had a martini. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
there's any cigarettes.
I think if you show cigarette smoking in movies, it makes it automatically rated R, so I think they probably avoided they avoided that for some reason.
They wanted to make sure that everybody who wanted to could see this movie.
Oh, good.
What is the worst part of this movie?
The worst part of the movie, and it shows why the movie is so bad, is the ending blooper reel. Because it shows that they're having way too much fun. They're like, we have all the comics in this, all these stars, we can do no wrong. And they're not looking at it like, how will this be received? Is this funny? Will anyone find this interesting? And you can tell by the blooper reel, because they're all just cracking each other up like, Seinfeld's here, Melissa McCarthy, and she's fat. Can you believe it? This is great. It's garbage. It sucks. I hate fucking blooper reels.
Well, I don't always hate blooper reels.
At the end of movies, they always suck.
I didn't like this particular blooper reel because they're the only ones having fun
Yes,
in this movie.
right.
Nobody that's watching is having fun. Just them.
Hey, you know what the blooper reel is? The first 90 minutes I just watched. That's the blooper reel.
That movie seemed like 2.5 hours.
It might have been 2.5 hours.
Not only is it a blooper reel, though, it's a dancing blooper reel, which if you're going to make a blooper reel bad, that's the way to do it.
But also, why shove it in our face that you all thought this was going to be good? You know, it's just like, I sat through this horse shit. I want an apology. I don't want to see you celebrating this thing that you guys did because it's terrible.
All right, so Jen, do you think that that was the worst part of the movie? What's your worst part of the movie?
Oh, gosh, it's really tough. Well, honestly, I did think that ravioli part was just the worst thing ever. It didn't belong there at all. This movie isn't about raviolis. It's about Pop-Tarts.
Right.
Just because it's a food that you can stick two sides together with something in the middle doesn't mean it has to be in that movie. That bothered me a lot. And the way they animated it was creepy. It was like stupid. I don't know. I didn't like any of the movie. None of it. But that ravioli pushed me over the edge. Actually, you know what? The Insurgents part pushed me over the edge a little bit too.
That was the part where I really lost it. I mean, that's pretty late in the movie, so I already was not enjoying myself. But that was when I was like, okay, this is actively bad. It's not just something that I can kind of get over and stop thinking about. Now I actually have to hate on this.
Well, so the first time we watched this movie, let's just watch this because how bad could it be? It can't be that bad. Wow. way worse than I was expecting.
I watched it because I heard Blind Mike describing it. And I went, I trust Blind Mike's opinion. How could it be this bad? It can't be.
They managed it.
He was right. Mike was right about this one.
I'm curious about what people are going to say about this movie in years to come.
Me too.
Because everybody that's in it has talent.
Right. And the other thing that blew me away about this movie was I saw Bill Burr interviewed and I saw Seinfeld interviewed, and they're defending this movie like it's a good movie. And so I do wonder if, given time, and now it's no longer like we want to get people to watch it and whatever, 2-3 years from now, does Seinfeld go, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking? Does anyone admit that that was a giant pile of garbage that they're embarrassed by?
I'd like to think that he would. I don't think he will. I do think there will be a smattering of people that will come out maybe after he dies and says, God, that movie was terrible.
We gotta wait for Seinfeld to die for people to admit that movie sucked? God damn it, I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time.
I think it's going to become a cult classic, which I hate to say that, but I do think that it's going to become a cult classic. It is. So one of the reasons that I kind of diverted from my normal way of talking about movies on my channel here, usually I kind of go through the movie and we talk about all the things that happen. It's impossible to do that with this movie because there is just so, there's so many things happening. And none of them are funny and none of them are meaningful and none of them make any sense. So to try to explain it would be literally impossible. But I think that that's going to give it that, like, people are going to eventually be like, it's so bad, it's good. And I don't think I'll ever feel that way.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either, but I'd be interested to just find out.
Well, if it does happen, then good on them. They achieved something.
Right.
But the thing about those so bad it's good movies, which I love, like The Room or...
Birdemic.
Yep, any of those. Even the one that's not even one of those, but My Dad's a Robot? I mean, that movie is terrible, but there's...
Battlefield Earth.
Oh, when are we going to watch that?
I know, I want to watch that. I love that movie. Have you done that on the show yet, Kaylee?
I haven't, shall we?
Have you seen Battlefield
I
Earth?
have, yeah.
I love that movie.
Piece of garbage.
Rat brain. Anyhow, but there's nothing really holding this together for me that would make it even interesting enough to keep watching it. It's so annoying. But then again, maybe if I watch it a few more times, I'd find something.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Like I said, it was annoying the second time I watched it.
I've watched this a lot to pull clips from it, and I can confirm that it does not get better.
One of the other gags they have in this, and there are elements of it that almost reminded me of Austin Powers. And again, Austin Powers does this well somehow, and they don't. Because Austin Powers is also like 60s, and, you know, they get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but there was continuity in that movie. Well,
there's funny jokes. It's well written.
Funny jokes and a plot line.
Correct.
This plot line.
And it's a parody of something that's real that we all know about, spy movies. And
well, it is an interesting premise because it says, wow, this guy is still stuck in the 60s, but it's not the 60s anymore.
Right.
But this is supposed to take place in the 60s, and they kept referencing things that weren't anything to do with the 60s.
Well, let's talk about the songs that were in it. I'm just kidding. So they do this thing with the mops.
Yeah.
Where they have the camera. Oh, we've got a hidden camera to find out the secrets over there at Post or Kellogg's. And so the joke is, guys, nowadays, I mean, you can fit a camera into a pen. You can fit a very tiny camera can go pretty much anywhere.
Don't be alarmed, Apu. Just go about your daily routine like I'm not wearing the hat.
A toilet seat. I don't know why I know that. You can put cameras a lot of places, is my point. But back then, cameras were much bigger and bulkier. So the funny part is that it's so obvious that there's a camera on the mop and no one recognizes it. Can you believe it? And they do that gag twice. It wasn't funny the first time. It was even less funny the second time they did it. We get it. Cameras were big back then.
Yeah. From all of these comics, I don't think I laughed at a single thing in this movie.
I'm trying to remember if there's anything I found amusing.
I did laugh one time. It was exactly one time when Marjorie Post and her assistant are presenting cereals to the Russians. He's like, I ate the poisoned cereal, and then his nose starts bleeding. That, like, there was enough shadowing that I wasn't expecting his nose to start bleeding. Every single other thing in this movie I predicted. And, you know, I mean, when they're about to name it Tang, I was like, oh, that's clearly Tang. I get it. It's tangy. Haha. We're about to do that joke. Every single joke was completely predictable. I was not expecting a little blood drip from the nose. And I think I laughed out of like, oh, haha, it got me finally.
Because it was subtle. It wasn't so fucking over the top. It wasn't banging on the top of that. Here's another joke they had when Melissa McCarthy's at NASA.
I mean, we've got something here called a microwave oven. Cooked a Swanson TV dinner 25 minutes flat.
It can cook a meal in 29 minutes. And he's like, wow.
Whoa.
This is so stupid because, first off, you can cook a lot of meals in 29 minutes, even back then. This isn't anything you'd be like, wow, it must cook really fast. Like, I put a burger on the grill. It took like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that was even a joke. Like, we get it. Microwaves would cook faster than that.
They're forgetting, though.
yeah. What are they forgetting?
There were TV dinners you could cook in under half an hour, and that was instant food, too. But, I mean...
Yeah, I know. It's just like, that's what I mean. Like, the way they were writing these jokes, it's like so obvious. And you're like, yeah, you can come up with any example of something that they didn't know in 63 that we now know. You know, they could have made the joke that like, wow, this IBM computer is really great. I can't wait until they get even bigger and slower. Like that would be an example of a joke that they would have. It's like, no, they actually get bigger and tinier. You know, yeah, right.
Yeah. I imagine that the writing room was just guys with like those big like yellow legal pads writing down like, wait, what were all the toys from 1960s? What were all the, you know, technology things that we had? And then shoehorning in gags to go along with each one of those things.
Oh, I bet that they had a whiteboard and they were just brainstorming in there. Okay, what toys from the 60s? What do you guys got? Okay, what about characters? Oh, there was Jack LaLanne. Yeah, right. Okay, Chip Boyardee.
And I don't understand why Jack LaLanne even wound up in this movie at all.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's why I invented the Kellogg's Sauna Suit. Foil-lined, inflatable weight loss pants that lock in heat and moisture and say to the world, hey, eyes up here, not down there.
It makes no sense.
Either.
The team that they assembled to invent the Pop-Tart was wildly ineffective and made zero sense.
If they even made the tiniest effort to make this even a little bit believable, it would have been better. But they made it so ridiculous.
At one point, they're late with payments to El Sucre for the sugar that they got from the cartel. And he gives him diabetes because he's late with the payment. How does that work?
Yeah.
What do you mean he got diabetes?
Did you have any redeeming qualities whatsoever? Was there any moment that you thought did work?
No.
Well, I
didn't.
What about the Mad Men cameo part?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I like
John Hamm's always funny.
I do. I like John Hamm. He's great. But I like a lot of people in this, and I still didn't like this movie.
They found a way to make him not funny.
What did you just say?
Figured out a way to make John Hamm not entertaining.
I may be in the minority here. I really, really like Melissa McCarthy.
What are you, some kind of ding-dong?
And she, for me in this movie, was one of the least annoying people in it.
That's true. That's true. This is one of the first things I said about this movie is that it's Melissa McCarthy and Amy Schumer, and that's not even why I'm mad. That's how bad this movie is.
Amy Schumer had some lines, and just kind of her demeanor was acceptable. But it wasn't really their... I don't know, just the story was so terrible. I don't know. It's confusing. Like I said, when I was watching it, I felt like I was insane. I felt like I was going insane. It was really frustrating.
So Bill Burr, he has a Boston accent already, and he's putting out an additional Boston accent.
The idea of our American children waking up in the morning to a commie breakfast pastry really burns my britches, and they were already burning due to the aforementioned blonde in the sequin dress.
And he says things like, you know, the ask not. It's like, as long as it's a reference to something people would know, that makes it funny. Like, oh yeah, that's what JFK did say that.
Ask not. What could be clearer? It's 2 words. It means don't ask.
Yeah, well, no, okay, I get it.
Yeah, he also does the you know who was singing happy birthday to me.
Right.
Yes, we get it. All right.
We know about that.
Okay, we know who.
That's why I find it so annoying when baby boomers are like, well, you guys just don't get it. No, I do. I get every fucking reference in this thing. That's not lost on me. One of the other dumb things is Christian Slater's talking to Hugh Grant.
I'm sorry?
I saw your 12 Angry Men one-man show.
Oh, yes. I felt I never really captured the anger of men 6 through 9.
I mean, these are jokes that are so pedestrian. I mean, this is like, yeah, I get it because there's 12 guys. There has to be at least 12 guys in 12 arguments. And he did it in a one-man show. Huh?
Hilarious.
It's not. No, Kaylee, I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I got confused for a second.
Yeah,
I thought we were enjoying that part.
I understand.
I will say, after watching this a couple of times, I found one thing that I sort of mildly enjoyed.
Okay.
You guys mentioned at the beginning it is shot very nicely. But in addition to that, all of the epiphany scenes that Jerry Seinfeld has whenever he has an epiphany about how to make Pop-Tarts, all of those moments happen when he's at a dumpster.
Eat up.
And that actually works for me. I think that that's mildly funny. I mean, this movie is a dumpster fire, but I at least like that they're trying, like, that felt intentional, but not hitting me over the head with it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick up on that.
That's like my one thing that I can say that is a nice thing about this extremely unfunny
Let me add
movie.
another thing for you. So the milkmen are a greedy syndicate, but Jerry's character is not worried. He says, I'm not afraid of those sour cream jockeys.
I remember that.
I wrote it down. This is horrible writing. Let me write that down.
All right, what else you got? What are the other horrible moments, Karl? Bring them on here.
I think I've mentioned all the ones that offended me.
All the worst of the worst.
Yeah, I think I've covered everything that really made me upset.
There's so many. It was also confusing. So when I went on to look at the cast, on Wiki Today or whatever.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld's character is listed as just ravioli.
It is? No, it was Bob something.
Bob Cabana. So
Cabana.
he is Bob Cabana, but he's also the voice of the ravioli.
Oh, that's why.
God, that's even worse.
Yes. It's very embarrassing for him.
It's not great.
Well, it's too bad that he spent all that time playing that character and the ravioli is what he got credit for. That's too bad.
I'm sure you read it wrong. I'm sure he's giving credit for both things.
I can read his name and ravioli next to it.
No, I'm just saying, I'm sure he was listed for both characters.
It was the first listing on the whole movie.
We have to say.
Well, it's the thing he was the most proud of, obviously.
Post. Yeah, right. It's kind of what I wanted to know about this other thing I was doing.
The cast listing is completely insane. There is, I want to say it was something like 35 cast members listed.
Okay.
And in Dune, there's like 17. Like, there is no movie. I'm pretty sure this has to be one of the biggest casts in any movie of like named actors. It's insane.
Right. And purposely so. That was kind of the point of it. It's like, how do we shoehorn in as many people that you know?
Because one person will like at least one of these people, and then they might watch this movie. It's like you were saying before about that Bee Gees, Beatles thing back in the early 80s, maybe.
It was the late 70s.
Where they did
Sgt. Pepper's.
Sgt. Pepper with the Bee Gees.
Yes.
And it was star-studded.
Thank you for reminding me. That was the first thing that I connected in my head when I saw this movie the first time. I went, oh my God, this is like Sgt. Pepper's, where they have like, how can this miss? It's the Beatles music. It's all these A-list celebrities and rock stars. And this is going to be amazing. And they did a ton of blow. And no one thought, should we have a little quality control here? This movie, I don't think there was as much blow, but there was zero quality control.
Yeah. That is only, it's just one of the other movies. It's got like 1 million people in it. It should be good. By all accounts, it was not.
Our generation's Sgt. Pepper's, which brings me back to the point of Sgt. Pepper's has become a cult hit. A movie you go back and go, wow, this is bad. People watch it.
I'm not going to lie. When I was a kid, I begged my parents to let me watch this. I was like, please let me watch this because Steve Martin was in it and I like Steve Martin and I love the Bee Gees.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like it, but I think I was 8.
Yeah, that would be the age that you would like that movie.
Yes, that makes sense.
So I did like it then. I haven't watched it since. So
we should probably rewatch that one. That would be fun.
Are you ready to have your mind shattered again?
Yes.
Maybe a little break between this one and that one. I do think that probably the most important question, though, after watching this movie, did you guys run out and buy Pop-Tarts? Did you feel the extreme need to eat 1 million Pop-Tarts after watching this?
I have not touched a Pop-Tart in many, many years.
Yeah, no.
What was your favorite kind of Pop-Tart, Karl?
I like the strawberry. I'm a pretty basic bitch when it comes to Pop-Tarts. I know they started getting cute with s'mores and different chocolate ones and stuff like that. I just like fruit. It's like fruit and frosting.
I like the cinnamon ones, and they are stoner food. Because, you get home from a night out when you're in college or whatever, and you're wasted, and you've got these, they're never fresh because they never were fresh, foods in your closet of your dorm. I don't know. They don't go stale.
Because they were never fresh.
See, wow, I can't even get the catchphrase right.
Well, it's a joke that Jerry wrote, but yeah, catchphrase. Have you eaten any Pop-Tarts?
No, why would I go out? I have no interest. I think I am less likely to buy Pop-Tarts now.
When I was a kid, I loved Pop-Tarts.
I did too.
But they were never on sale. My mom never had a coupon, so we never had them in our house. But I'm not even joking about that. That's true. But I had friends who had Pop-Tarts. So when I'd go to their house, I would eat their fucking Pop-Tarts. I remember one of my friends' parents told me I had to stop eating their Pop-Tarts. I think I had too many of their Pop-Tarts.
You were eating them out of house and home.
I was. I thought they were rich. Oh my God, these fucking people can afford Pop-Tarts? They don't give a shit. Yeah. They can do anything they want.
So have you ever eaten any of the unfrosted ones is the next question.
I'm not.
Yes, the cinnamon ones are unfrosted.
Are they?
They have frosted cinnamon ones. So I like the frosted cinnamon ones.
They definitely have frosted cinnamon ones.
I feel like I've had both.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried an unfrosted Pop-Tart at some point when I was a kid, and I was like, this is trash. This is actual trash.
You need a lot more sugar on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you really do.
You know when I stopped caring about Pop-Tarts? When I learned about toaster strudels.
Oh my God, those were the best.
So
Why
fucking
is there
good.
not a movie about toaster?
I'm working on it. I have half the script written right now. Me and producer Chris.
That's going to be Larry David's next project,
That would
actually.
be funny.
Now that would be funny.
That would be funny.
Oh, wow.
But the toaster strudel was far superior.
Yes.
Agreed.
Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about with this movie?
I wouldn't recommend this movie to anyone.
I think everyone should have to watch it once. It's similar to when I say everyone should have to get a job in a restaurant. It'll make them a better person.
That's what you just sounded like.
It'll make them a better person in life. Get a job in a restaurant, and you'll treat people in the service industry very differently than you would if you didn't. Watch this movie, and then you can appreciate real comedy movies.
That's quite the endorsement. So on my channel, I like to rate movies out of 7 thumbs up. So Jen, what would you give this movie out of 7 thumbs up?
Can I do half a thumb?
Sure. You have 7 thumbs right now. You can do whatever you want.
I give it a half a thumb. I give it this.
Very generous.
I give it 1 Stuttering John index finger thumb.
Blech.
He's got that one finger that looks like a thumb. That's what I give this movie
Look
too.
like a thumb. I can tell you that.
I think that's reasonable. I think I'm with you guys. I would give it right around the 1 thumb up. I'm not going to give it 0. I do think that it looks fine. I like the dumpster stuff. And that is
Someone
it.
isolate that. You don't even know what you just said.
Well, now I do. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I would love it if you would both just tell everybody a little bit about where they can find you.
I am at whoarethese.com. I host a show called Who Are These Podcasts, one called Who Are These Socials, and another one called The Creep Off, which is available at thecreepoff.com. Go there and vote for me. The Creep Off, of course, being the only true crime show made for men. All the other true crime shows are for women. If you're a guy, listen to The Creep Off.
For men, by men.
That's right. But wait, we're not bi. Who told you
I don't
that?
know. I don't know what you two are up to.
Who told you that?
Dabblecon. Dabblecon
Yes.
2. You can see me there, and Karl, and Kaylee.
Yes.
And, I mean...
That's August 16th and 17th, coming at the Carlson in Rochester, New York. Get your tickets, WATPlive.com.
Yes, it will sell out. And also, I mean, I do have an Insta. It's
Oh,
Jen
yeah.
from the Jingles department. I post things about our live shows and all our travels. Sometimes.
Wonderful. Well, everything will be linked down below. And also, I know that we're all very excited about Detroit as well as Dabblecon too.
I'm excited for that too. I love Ferndale.
October 25th. Go to themagic.bag.com to get your tickets for that. VIPs have already sold out. And tickets are selling quick for that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So, yeah, we've sold out the last 2 years. So definitely get your tickets for the Magic Bag in Ferndale.
Thank you guys again so much for joining me and making me suffer through this awful piece of garbage.
Well, I'm glad you could join us in that.
Yes, it's nice to suffer with others.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so nice. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you again soon. I like the dumpster stuff.